inside the octagon.
It's official. MMA Connected confirmed with Dana White that Brock Lesnar will defend his heavyweight title against Cain Velasquez at UFC 121 Saturday, October 23rd at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. Be sure to tune into next week's episode of MMA Connected as we'll have an exclusive sit-down with Velasquez.
I know the hard work that I put in the gym. I know my tools. I have to go out there and emulate my game plan. I have to go out there and pretty much fight a perfect fight, you know, to beat somebody like him.
Meanwhile, also rumored to be competing alongside Brock and Kane is Canadian Sam, Hands of Stone Stout, as he is expected to take on British slugger Paul Relentless Taylor. Speaking of England, UFC 120 is tentatively scheduled for Saturday, October 16th at the O2 Arena, with potential bouts including Michael Bisping versus Yoshihiro Akiyama, Dan Hardy versus Carlos Condit, John Hathaway versus Dun Young Kim, as well as Czech Congo versus Travis Brown. Moving stateside, UFC 119 will hit the Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, Saturday, September 25th, and features a heavyweight rematch between Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira and Frank Mir, while the Brazilian's twin brother, Rogério Nogueira, is set to take on Ryan Bader in the co-main event. Other rumored fights include Matt Serra versus Chris Lytle, Evan Dunham versus Sean Shirk, Melvin Gillard versus Jeremy Stevens, Joey Beltran versus Matt Mitrione, as well as CB Dalloway taking on Canadian Joe El Dirte Dirksen. It appears UFC light heavyweight champion Mauricio Shogun Hua's recovery from knee surgery is moving along quite well, and his original return date of March may be bumped up sooner, perhaps to the UFC's event in late January or early February 2011. #1 contender Sugar Rashad Evans has once again stated that he is more than willing to wait for his title shot, no matter when the actual date may be. It's been over 2.5 years in the making, but it appears legendary referee Big John McCarthy will be returning to the octagon Sunday, August 1st at UFC Live 2. While it's great news for the sport of MMA, Big John did tell me that this does not guarantee he'll be working future shows for the UFC. Note to Big John, we're all crossing our fingers that this is the first of many more to come. Bad news for Uriah Faber fans, as the California Kid has been forced to withdraw from his WEC 50 bout versus Japanese bantamweight Takeya Mizugaki after suffering a knee injury during training. Faber will not require surgery and is hoping to return in September. No replacement has been named as of yet, and no news from the WEC has been released as to whether or not Mizugaki will be removed from the card. In Strikeforce news, with Fedor Emelianenko having only one fight left on his contract, the organization is offering him a title fight versus champion Alistair Overeem, providing the last Emperor signs the Champions Clause in a new contract, which, should he defeat the Reem, will keep him locked in for at least 3 more fights. Fedor wants a rematch with Fabrizio Verdun, but should he avenge the loss to the Brazilian, his stock would once again rise and he would be a free agent who may entertain a move to the Ultimate Fighting Championship, making Strikeforce lose their #1 ratings draw and making life extremely difficult for an organization that must provide results for their current cable television network deal. The organization also announced Strikeforce Houston, Saturday, August 21st at the Toyota Center, which will feature light heavyweight champion King Mo Lawal's first title defense as he takes on Anderson Silva training partner Rafael Feijão, as well as a championship bout for the vacant middleweight title as BJJ submission specialist Ronaldo Jacare Souza takes on American Tim Kennedy. Bobby Lashley is also expected to be competing on the card versus a yet-to-be-announced opponent, with rumors circulating that there is a proposed bout between he and another former WWE wrestler, David Batista, who recently spent time training with the Cesar Gracie camp, rolling around with the likes of Nick and Nate Diaz, Jake Shields, and Gilbert Melendez. After a bitter split from the Maximum Fighting Championship in 2009, one of Canada's best welterweights, Ryan Ford, will be returning to the organization that gave birth to his MMA career, as the MFC announced the real deal is back and looking forward to facing top-notch talent inside the ring of Canada's most successful MMA promotion. And here's a look at the results from Aggression MMA 4 that took place in Edmonton, where Alberta's own Tim, the Thrashing Machine Hague, was victorious in his first fight since being cut from the UFC, defeating Ultimate Fighter Season 10 veteran Zach Jensen with a come-from-behind knockout victory. And that's just a small sample of some of the news that made headlines this past week. If you want more, visit sportsnet.ca/MMA and be sure to check out the latest features, including MMA stats, fighter bios, and upcoming events.
Inside the Octagon.